Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so if you've been religiously tracking your daily movement, hitting that magic 10,000 steps every single day, and then looking in the mirror wondering why on earth your belly fat hasn't budged an inch, well, I want to tell you right now, your frustration is completely valid. Seriously, most of us have been taught that walking is literally just putting one foot in front of the other. But today, we're going to completely change how you look at a walk forever. We aren't just here to talk about a casual stroll. We are actually going to talk about engineering your biology. We're going to decode the specific techniques to literally force your body to become a fat-burning machine.
So why the zero progress? Well, the absolute biggest mistake we make is treating walking like a simple math equation. We assume that steps taken automatically equals calories burned, and hey, any calorie burned is a victory, right? But biologically speaking, not all steps are created equal. No way. You could actually be walking for an entire hour every single day and burn absolutely zero visceral fat if your body is stuck in the wrong metabolic gear. If you just move without actually challenging your cellular machinery, or if you're just burning off the glucose from your last meal, you're basically just accumulating what exercise physiologists call junk miles.
Section 1. The hybrid engine, sugar versus fat.
To really understand why this happens, we need to completely reframe how we view the human body. Think of it like a highly advanced hybrid engine. Just like a hybrid car switches between electricity and gas, your body runs on two very different fuel sources, glucose, which is sugar, and free fatty acids, which is fat. And which fuel your body chooses at any given millisecond depends entirely on two things, oxygen availability and stress. This is absolutely crucial to understand. When you run hard or sprint, your body literally panics. You're demanding energy way faster than you can inhale oxygen. So it immediately switches to glucose because sugar burns super fast and doesn't need much oxygen. On the flip side, when you walk at a specific optimal pace, what's often called zone 2, your heart rate stays pretty low. Your body knows it's not in danger. It has plenty of oxygen, and so it naturally defaults to its slow-burning, abundant fuel source, pure body fat.
Okay, let's dive into this because the biochemistry here is absolutely fascinating. When you're out there running and panting, your body creates a byproduct from burning all that sugar, and it's called lactate. Lactate is a sugar acid, and it acts as a powerful inhibitor of a process called lipolysis. To put that in simple terms, when lactate levels rise in your blood, it chemically shuts and literally locks the doors to your fat cells. Your body completely stops releasing fat because it's just too busy dealing with this sugar acid. So you might be out there sweating and panting, feeling like you're doing great, but you've actually locked your fat stores entirely away.
Section 2. Mastering the 5 FATmax Protocols.
Now that we know panting locks fat cells and walking opens them, how do we actually hack the walk to make sure we aren't just logging those junk miles? Let's get into the 5 protocols. Protocol 1 is all about speed. See, most people walk way too leisurely to force any real visceral fat loss. To get actual results, you need to find the upper limit of that fat-burning zone 2. You gotta ride that line right before lactate begins to accumulate. And the best part? You don't even need a fancy, expensive heart rate monitor to find it. You just need your voice. This is called the talk test velocity. You should be walking fast enough that you can still speak in full sentences, but you absolutely cannot sing.
When you break down these walking zones, it becomes incredibly clear exactly where you need to be. If you're in zone 1 and you can just casually whistle or sing along to your music, well, you're relaxing. You're definitely not melting belly fat. But if you're in zone 3 or 4, gasping for air and can only choke out a word or two, you've crossed that lactate threshold. You're burning sugar and spiking your stress hormone, cortisol. You want to live right in that sweet spot in the middle. Zone 2. You want to feel a slight air hunger. That specific sensation is the exact signal your mitochondria need to work at absolute maximum efficiency to convert oxygen and fat into energy.
Moving right along, Protocol 2 targets your body's cleverness. The human body is an amazing adaptation machine, you know? If you walk at the exact same pace for 45 minutes every single day, your body actually becomes more efficient. It learns to burn fewer calories for the exact same amount of work. But we don't want efficiency. We want a high rate of calorie expenditure. So, to prevent this adaptation, we use a technique called an undulating rhythm or micro-intervals. Think of it as a pump and burn mechanism that keeps your metabolic engine wonderfully inefficient so it's constantly forced to burn its reserves.
So here is exactly how you execute this undulating rhythm. Step 1, you walk at your normal talk test pace for 3 minutes. Step 2, for 1 single minute, power walk as fast as you possibly can without actually breaking into a jog. And step 3, return right back to your normal pace for another 3 minutes. Why do we do this? Well, that 1 minute burst releases a pulse of catecholamines, which are basically hormones like adrenaline, and they tell your fat cells to literally pop open and dump fat into your bloodstream. But because it's only 1 minute, you don't build up that fat-blocking lactate. Then, during the 3-minute steady phase, your body just gobbles up and burns all that newly mobilized fat.
All right, Protocol 3 is all about biomechanical engagement. Next time you're outside, just look at people walking. You're going to notice their arms are usually glued tight to their sides, often holding a phone or just stuffed into their pockets, right? This posture completely disconnects the upper body from the movement. It turns walking into a purely legs-only activity. If we want to actually force fat loss, we have to recruit way more muscle mass. More muscle fibers engaged means a higher oxygen demand, which directly translates to more fat burned.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer impact of making one tiny physical change. By simply putting your phone away and actively swinging your arms from the shoulders, not just bending at the elbows, but from the shoulders, you can actually increase the caloric expenditure of your walk by up to 20%. That's a huge jump. When you step with your left leg and aggressively swing your right arm forward, you create what's called a thoracic rotation in your spine. That specific rotation actively engages your obliques, your lats, and your core fascia.
And there is a phenomenal biological bonus to this arm swing too. By creating that thoracic rotation and really pumping those arms, you are actively stimulating the lymphatic system in your upper body. Now, the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart does. It relies entirely on muscular movement to drain out fluid. So, by engaging your upper body this way, you're essentially helping your body actively drain out systemic inflammation at the exact same time you're melting fat. It's a total win-win.
Protocol 4, the appetite advantage.
This right here is the absolute secret weapon of walking that virtually nobody talks about. Have you ever noticed how completely ravenous you get after an intense, super sweaty cardio session? Let me tell you, that isn't just a lack of willpower. That is your neurobiology actively working against your weight loss goals. When you do high-intensity cardio, your body perceives a massive, dangerous energy deficit. In response, your brain's hypothalamus releases a potent hunger hormone called neuropeptide Y. This triggers a biological compensation effect. So you might burn 500 calories running on a treadmill, but then you come home starving and easily eat 600 calories because your brain is basically sounding a famine alarm. Walking, on the other hand, is uniquely appetite neutral. It simply doesn't spike neuropeptide Y.
Now, to fully maximize this appetite advantage, you absolutely must combine your walk with nasal breathing. Breathing exclusively through your nose keeps your nervous system firmly anchored in the parasympathetic state, that's your rest and digest state, which keeps all your hunger hormones perfectly stable. If you're panting through your mouth, you're signaling stress to your body, and stress signals hunger. By walking and sticking to nasal breathing, you create an incredibly stealthy calorie deficit. You won't feel that sudden, overwhelming urge to eat all those calories back, making it a highly sustainable way to actually lose the weight and keep it off.
Okay, our final rule, Protocol 5, is the empty tank strategy. This one is specifically designed for all the morning walkers out there. We already know that walking keeps cortisol low, but if we strategically pair this movement with a very specific chemical state, we can vastly accelerate our visceral fat loss. We do this by walking first thing in the morning when our insulin levels are at their absolute lowest, and then we introduce a targeted stimulant to get things moving.
This sequence works like an absolute charm. About 30 minutes before you step out the door, drink a cup of plain black coffee or some green tea. Caffeine is a really powerful tool here because it forces your body to release free fatty acids right into your bloodstream. It essentially mobilizes your fuel. But here's the fascinating trick. If you drink that coffee and then just sit on the couch checking emails, those fatty acids just circulate and eventually get stored right back as visceral fat due to the caffeine's cortisol spike. But by walking immediately, you give that newly mobilized energy somewhere to actually go. The walking burns off the fat and entirely buffers that anxious energy, preventing any sort of crash.
Tuning your metabolic engines.
When you put all of this together, you start to realize that you are doing so much more than just getting from point A to point B. You aren't just strolling to clear your head, though, hey, the mental health benefits are definitely great. You are purposefully tuning your cellular machinery. You're sending a clear, undeniable signal to your body to stop hoarding fuel and start burning it. So the crucial point is this simple recap checklist to turn your mitochondria into fat-oxidizing machines. 1. Walk fast enough to talk but not sing. 2. Use the 3-minute steady, 1-minute power undulating rhythm to release adrenaline. 3. Swing your arms from the shoulders to engage your core. 4. Breathe through your nose to keep those appetite hormones perfectly neutral. And 5. Do it in a low-insulin, fasted morning state with caffeine to mobilize the fuel.
Listen, your body naturally wants to be extremely efficient and hold on to its reserves. That's just biology. But your job is to make it safely inefficient enough to finally burn through that stubborn visceral fat. So, the only thing left to ask is, are you ready to put down the phone, find your perfect pace, and force your belly fat to shift for good? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now get out there and engineer your walk.